smoking.
No running around.
And no smoking.
Biscamentare.
So, when it comes to Hoshana Raba or Shavuot,
You see, it's
right,
you see, it's less
they
space
have
here, more
light,
space
usually
here.
have to choose a topic that will keep people up.
Perfection.
Otherwise,
Perfection.
you're gonna fall asleep, and I'm gonna fall
CPA,
asleep.
that's one.
Mazgina.
So, I was thinking of a topic to speak about, so I chose an interesting topic.
How would you do that? You blocking it to put it up.
The person, in regards to Chilul Hashem, Kiddush Hashem, when a person is obligated to give his life over for Hashem, when a person is not obligated to give his life over for Hashem, which is halachot that pertain,
You just spoke about it.
Three.
they pertain, even till today they pertain, they're not far off. You know that the Rambam writes that there's 4 different types of avirot, right? The Rambam writes there's 4 different types of avirot. There's one avirah, there's the mitzvot aseh. Say if a person wants to do a mitzvah, for example, Kiddush on Shabbat. Most poskim want Kiddush on Shabbat, not on a cup. Kiddush itself on Shabbat is a mitzvah d'oraita. Or a person was over on, they didn't put on tzitzit. Or any mitzvah aseh that a person is obligated to do. For example, Netilat Lulav. Say Arba Minim, we have a mitzvah aseh to do Arba Minim. Say if a person did not do the Arba Minim until Sukkot came around, he didn't do Arba Minim. So afterwards he regrets it. He says, you know what? I want to do Teshuvah. It's not nice to me. I didn't fulfill the mitzvah that Hashem wanted me to do. So the Rambam writes that you do Teshuvah and Hashem forgives you right away. When you thought that Hashem forgives you right away. Then there's something else that's mitzvah lo ta'aseh. Right? Speaking Lashon Hara, eating something that you're not supposed to be eating, looking at someone you're not supposed to be looking at. Those mitzvot are lo ta'aseh. Those are avirot lo ta'aseh. Those avirot, the Rambam writes that if you do Teshuvah, Hashem forgives you, but you need Yom Kippur as a kapara. Sometimes one Yom Kippur might not be enough. You need to say you need Yom Kippur with Teshuvah, and Yom Kippur cleanses it. It depends how deep the sin penetrated through your soul, that's how many Yom Kippurs you'll need. Also depends on how big your neshama is. Right, the Rav Chaim, the Rav Rata writes, the Rav Aaron Rata writes, that there are some people that they have such big neshamot, and they themselves don't even know. He says this could be a regular, average working person who will never realize that his neshama is one of the neshamas that the world depends on. A person will never know such a thing. It's very hard to connect to it unless a person tries to connect with it.
Is there indicators?
Huh?
Indicators?
There are indicators.
Yeah.
But, so that type of individual for sure will need much more of a kapar because the neshama is very big. The contamination is very deep. Then you have the next level up. If a person breaks Shabbat, or a person, wife, didn't go to the mikvah or something like that. Those things are more like haret, chayiv mitot, chayiv mitah, or eating on Yom Kippur, right? All these things are equivalent. All these things are on the same level. Or those avirot is not enough teshuvah. It's not enough. I imagine a person would eat pig on Yom Kippur and be with his wife Nida on Yom Kippur all at one time. Right? Right? So those avirot, Yom Kippur is not enough. Person needs to suffer. To cleanse that soul. Why suffer? What is suffering going to help? The Ramchal writes that Hashem created a system in the world where the soul always has to purify itself. The soul is always in a state that it has like a self-purification. It's either a person gets up on his own and he purifies it, he does teshuvah, he does Torah, tefillah, bechi, right? A person keeps Shabbat properly. The Taz writes a person keeps Shabbat kil chata. He gives him a mechila and kapara for his avirot more than Yom Kippur. The Taz writes more than Yom Kippur. Shabbat. Keep Shabbat api halacha. It's more than Yom Kippur for kapara. He says he gets a kapara without the kapara, right? Again, it might not be one Shabbat, it could be continuous. It purifies the person continuously, very strongly. Right? Then that's those avirot that we just mentioned. That person needs cleanliness. It could take a while to get cleansed for that. It could be different types of suffering. It could be suffering mentally, anxiety. It could be suffering emotionally. right? It could be suffering physically.
Money loss.
Right? It could be money is the Hashem lets you out easily,
Easy.
right? He takes your money, right? But it could be anything, right? And suddenly it could be Hashem send put you exactly where somebody bought a house next to your neighbor, right? The worst neighbor ever. And also is a shliach from Hashem, giving you a kapara for whatever reason that is, right? Well,
Makes sense.
anything, right? Hashem sends shlichim, sends his messengers the whole world. The Gemara said that when it comes time for a person to leave this world, the whole world becomes messengers of Hashem to get rid of this person. And the Gemara brings an example that it says that if a person is swimming in the river and it came time for him to die, but it came time for him to die, how is his death supposed to happen? A scorpion was supposed to bite him, but he was supposed to die at that moment. How is the scorpion going to get into the water? It says that there was a big frog, the scorpion went on top of the frog, and the frog was floating on the water, and it reached that person, the scorpion went on the person and killed him. The Gemara there says when it comes time for something, the whole world works together
Nature.
to make it happen.
The whole nature.
It's the same thing if Hashem wants to bring anything good into a person's life. It's the same thing if Hashem wants to bring a kapara into a person's life. All of nature, whether it's people, it's just going to happen that those people are going to come into your life. Whether it's this direction or that direction. But they're all just messengers of Hashem.
Amen.
And that also is a kapara process. And worse than all of that is Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem. Now what? If a person looks at you and says, this is a religious Jew, this is how a person who's a religious Jew behaves, the Torah is fake. For that, the Rambam writes, even if a person will suffer his whole life, won't get a kapara until he dies.
Wow.
That's the worst.
But
For that, a person needs a kapara more than if he ate pig and was with his wife on Yom Kippur when she was hanging out. More.
Chilul Hashem.
What? Even worse.
But there's tshuva to that too.
Dead.
No.
No tshuva.
Teshuvah is Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem is Teshuvah. If you really do Teshuvah properly and
Yeah.
Hashem really sees that you mean it,
Yeah.
Hashem will put you in circumstances where
Well,
you
you
will
have
be
to
a
do-
Kiddush Hashem and Hashem will give you a kapara. Or things that are equivalent to that.
It's in his control.
Midah
Yeah.
can midah.
One second. Things that are
If
equivalent.
you're sincere,
Just the
God
question.
sees that. And Hashem will direct you in the places that you need to be.
To do kiddush.
Right. You need to say that
Measure for measure. Like
I
the
can
opposite.
see you, and I can see your life, and I can see if your teshuvah is sincere.
Yes.
Because I can see where Hashem is putting you. Right? And I can see the way Hashem is guiding you, that you're sincere. So if Hashem is guiding you in places where you are a Kiddush Hashem, so you see that is giving you kapara. Or the Ben Ish Chai writes in Ben Yoyada, things that are equivalent to death. Somebody gets up and he embarrasses you publicly. You feel like the guy just stabbed you. And everywhere you go, you see those people, it's like an embarrassment again. That also is equivalent to death. Right?
Wow.
Or if a person is poor, right? That also is equivalent to death. All these things could be kapar for things, but what? Chilul Hashem is the worst. I remember one time I was at a Sheva Barachot. Here somewhere, there's a guy with the kippah on our table, and it was a very mixed crowd. And a lot of times in the non-religious world and the religious world, the non-religious world, they look to find the blemishes in the religious people to ease their conscience. If they see you as a religious person no different than them, it makes them feel like they're okay with what they're doing because you're not any
I'm
better.
a good person.
That is Chilul Hashem. Right? So what? I saw this individual, he had a kippah on his head,
No.
and he was talking in the most disrespectful, horrible, foul language. I told him, I don't think you're allowed to wear kippah. He told me, why not? I said, a person like you that wears the kippah, you're destroying yourself. Take off your kippah is better for you. You're patur for wearing the kippah. Somebody like you is not allowed to wear kippah. Right? He was thrown back by it. I was like, you're destroying the image of Hashem with the way you're behaving. And it's like, you have to really understand that when you're walking around as a from Jew that carries the name of God with you, you're taking that responsibility of representing Hashem.
Yeah.
Right?
Comply.
Imagine if you would have the most important person in the world, right? And his child represents him, and he's sitting with a whole bunch of bums on a corner drinking, right? It's like, it doesn't make sense,
No.
right? When you're representing Hashem, it's not always about you. You're about to do something, but you have to think to yourself, I'm also representing Hashem.
Do his responsibility.
How is this going to bring out the Torah into people's eyes? You have that responsibility.
Yes.
Once you carry Hashem's name, and that's what it says, Lo tisa Hashem Hashem Elokecha l'shav. The Hasidim write, what does that mean? You shouldn't carry God's name in vain?
Yeah.
Is that you shouldn't walk around like you're a tzaddik, but ruin
bad
God's
image.
name by doing that.
Right.
Right? If you're not ready, take the baby steps.
Don't sign up.
Right? Work it tenderly.
Don't say no.
No, it says, we're reading it today in the Devarim. This is just a little introduction before we get to the halacha. I want to move a little bit quicker. It says in the parsha, in the Devarim, one of the Latinos, Yaakov wrote it. I think I'm pretty sure it's Yaakov. Or Yaakov. Right? So it says over there that there's two simanim that make an animal kosher. One,
Split the cup.
you have split hoof. Right?
Chew the cut.
Two, choose its cut.
Yes.
So one of the simanim is the inside of the animal, and the other simanim is the outside of the animal.
Yes.
So some animals, they have split hooves. Some animals, they choose their cut.
Yes.
Right?
For exception.
So if you have an animal that chooses its cut, like a rabbit, I believe, chooses its cut.
And pig.
Right? So there, it has a siman of kashrut, but it's not. Right? And then you have animals like a pig,
Pig has this.
like a pig that has the split hooves,
Split hooves, yeah.
right?
It doesn't chew
It
the
shows that it's kosher on the outside, but it's really treif. Rav Shimshon Pinky said, by a person also. Some people, they show they're kosher on the outside, but inside they're treif. Right? Horrible midot, no patience, arrogant, hatred, right? No derech eretz towards
Jealousy.
people, jealousy, right? No emunah in Hashem. So you're right, on the outside you look very kosher, but you're treif. Why? Because the inside
Midot.
siman is missing. And then you have the other way around. Some people on the inside, they have good midot, they have emunah, they have bitachon, they have yirat shamayim. But on the outside, right, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. By the way, you should know, the Vilna Gaon says people that have good midot and more righteous on the inside and are not religious are going to be punished 10 times more than people that are going to have horrible midot. Why? He says because such an individual,
Whoa. Can you repeat
a
that?
person that's a good person on the
Yes.
inside, right?
Not religious.
But he's not religious, he will be punished more than a person that's a worse person on the
Because he
inside.
had opportunity.
Why? Because it was much easier for
Potential.
him to be righteous.
Yeah. Potential.
And his understanding was much easier for him to become. But a person that has bad midot, it's much more difficult for him,
That's good.
right? It's
This-
much more
this one
difficult
had
for him to be able to
potential.
change.
Potential.
What? So his potential is less. It's like some people like imagine who's gonna be better off after 120? A guy who understands everything but chooses not to do anything and he lives in that surrounding, or some guy that lives in Brighton Beach who doesn't know anything. The guy in Brighton Beach is much better off. Why? He has no idea.
Yes.
How could you hold him up to something he doesn't know? But if a person's conscious is aware of everything, you hold him more accountable, right? If I know, right, somebody is clever, smart, he
And
has
does-
all the capabilities,
and does
but
not-
what?
Does not do
He
it.
doesn't do anything, right? It will kill you inside the potential this person wasted, right? So you're gonna hold him more accountable because of his potential, because you have higher expectations. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Now we're gonna. Now I just wanted to give that introduction to Kiddush Hashem and Chilul Hashem. The Shulchan Aruch writes, "Kol avirot shebaTorah, any avirah in the Torah, except the three major ones. The three major ones are Avodah Zarah,
So
Gilui
living with
Arayot. You're not
woman.
allowed to sleep with women that are married or Nidam or anybody that was the Gilui Arayot.
Killing a Jew.
V'shefachut damim,
Killing.
and killing a Jew,
Jew.
right? Killing a Jew, because killing somebody that's Ored Kochavim, other religions, it's not that Im omrim lo la'adam she'avor alehem o yareg. So if they come and tell you, listen, here's the piece of pig, or here is the, I want you to break Shabbat, or I'm gonna kill you.
Halal.
Right? So if it's privately, meaning to say there's less than 10 people that know about the situation, privately. It's not public knowledge that this is happening. It's happening in someone's house, between you and him. Right? It says you're allowed to do the Avirah, you don't have to give up your life. You don't have to give up your life. The Shulchan Aruch says if you want to be machmir and kill yourself to show the person that I'm willing to die for God, even not to do this Avirah, he says you're allowed to. You're allowed to, but only under one condition. That if the goy is making you do the Avirah because he wants to take you away from your religion. But if he's doing it just to please himself, right? I want to see this Jew eat pig. I want to make fun of him. Right? He doesn't care if you're religious or not. He just wants to do it for his own benefit. He wants to laugh at you, then you're not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're not allowed. Only if you want to take you away from your
Eat,
religion.
of course. Allowed to eat. Yeah.
Just to go get what are they going to give your life away?
The respect for Hashem is more greater than people. 10 people.
No, there's no chilul Hashem, there's no kibbush Hashem. The Torah says v'chai b'hem, v'lo shemut b'hem. Right? The Torah doesn't want you to die fulfilling the words of Hashem. It's rather you better do this one Avirah now, continuously do mitzvot for the rest of your life. Only when there is a chilul Hashem, was the Torah makel to say if there's a chilul Hashem, you have to let your life go. You cannot make a chilul Hashem. This is all the halachot of chilul Hashem, to such an extent. Right? If a guy will come in front of 10 Jews and tell you, listen, eat the pig, or I'll take your life, you gotta give up your life to get this Hashem.
10 Jews.
10 Jews.
10 koshers.
Well, what if he does it for himself just to make a fun? Then you don't have to.
Publicly?
No, if it's publicly, let's say, yes, more than 10. But he's
Then
doing.
there's the machloket if it's public.
Machloket, right?
Yeah, the machloket if it's public.
But if it's less than 10, you don't have to.
That's the next step. You get the machloket.
Rabbi, quick question. If somebody asks for tzedakah and I have a kippah and there's 5-7 people looking at me and I did not give this to Goy tzedakah, is that considered also Chilul Hashem or no?
You give tzedakah to God because of Darchei Shalom. What do you mean people are looking at
10
you?
people are standing there, they say, hey, give me, and they know I'm Jew. I'm in Pennsylvania, different state. What do I do? And I know this money is not.
Not a chilul Hashem. You just give him a quarter. If you don't have a give him a quarter. You should give.
But it's
tzedakah.
okay not to give, or do we have to give?
It's okay not to give it. It says we give Goyim because of Darchei Shalom.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a quarter or something.
So it's better to give.
A quarter.
I see.
Nothing big.
Huh?
Take a quarter with you next time you go to Pennsylvania.
$2, whatever.
Right?
Is there any sort of kavanah we have to have when we give?
To a guy?
Yeah.
No.
They say that all the bad decree should go to something, no? Like,
It makes you feel better. You can think like that.
okay.
You see, and then you only keep hundreds, you don't have boys. See, if you only keep hundreds, you don't have boys.
Yeah, exactly.
I told you. You go to
What if we
Pennsylvania.
were only hundreds?
You don't
Well,
change.
Because yeah, it's not eating pig.
same thing. It's the same thing.
That's
This
a
is
good
right.
one.
How Hilul Hashem, you don't, person doesn't take his life. So
Don't put yourself in danger.
Yes, I understand. He's asking a good question. He's saying, how is it that people, they cut their hair, over here, they cut their hair
very short.
very short, where it's an issue right, it's also equivalent to getting paid. Right? Right? If a person would be put on that situation, then he would have to give his life not to do it.
Just for that? But if
Yes.
it grows very fast here,
It's for any of that, it's not only just for that. What?
if it grows very fast here, you know,
Do number one.
number one.
Not less than that. One and a half.
If I do number one in the morning, by night I have number two already.
Put a machine in your pocket. The Bach, so the Rambam over here disagrees. The Rambam says no. If they come and tell you, do an Avirah, or I'm going to kill you, and it's done privately, you're not allowed to be machna, the Rambam writes. You're not allowed to give up your life. If you give up your life, the Rambam held it's considered like you committed suicide.
Wow.
Wow.
Machlokes.
Right, the Rambam says you're not allowed.
For any, for what,
An Avirah privately.
privately Avera.
Right.
Not people, not to
Right,
see.
nobody knows. Say
Nobody
that-
knows. Like one
Right.
on
It's
one.
not us. Can you
Explain to me.
I'll explain to you.
Just
We
stop
just
there.
said, imagine
Somebody forcing you to do
somebody
something.
posted like the Russian Tosfot. Imagine if somebody would come to you, somebody would come to somebody and put a gun to his head. They want you to eat this piece of meat, but it's straight. Or like he said, I want you to take a razor and cut your pay fully
Okay.
cut it. Right?
Okay.
Zero.
Private.
Cut your head both. Right? So the Shulchan Aruch says if you want to be machmir to say, I'm killing myself, I'm not doing any Avera Neged Hashem. The Shulchan Aruch said it's okay. You're allowed to be machmir if you want to. Rav Moshe Feinstein writes, you're only allowed to be machmir if you want to, if you would kill yourself for any Avera, not for this particular one. For example, Rav Moshe says, imagine if they tell you eat crab. You're disgusted by it, right? So there you'd be willing to give it. But if they'd ask you to shave your head bald, maybe there you wouldn't do it, right? So there, Rav Moshe Feinstein says you're not allowed to kill yourself. Why?
you have
Because
to
you're not
machmir
doing it for
everyone.
the etzem Avera. It's some Averot yes, some Averot no, then you're not allowed to be machmir. That's the Shona,
קרוץ',
right?
לא דעתי לפי דעתי.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna stick to 3 things for
But the
now.
Rambam held that now you're not allowed to. You have to go ahead and be over there. The Shach writes that it really depends. Why? Because we find that the Torah, by Kiddush Hashem, giving up your life, the Torah was very easy with people giving up their life for Kiddush Hashem. And therefore the Shach sort of leaves it in the middle. He says that if you really feel like the situation here would call for it, then you could pass him like the Shitas that hold that it's okay. It really depends on the person. There's a question that comes out, what about if a person knows that they're going to take him and they're going to torture him and torment him and then they're going to kill him? Is he allowed to kill himself?
No.
Why not?
He's gonna go through pain.
They're going to torture him. Right?
Rabbi Akiva.
Unnecessary.
Shaul HaMelech, when he went into war, it says over there, Shaul told the servant that was with him,
Torture is better.
he said that if they're going to catch me, they're going to torture him, they're going to torment him, and then they're going to kill him. So Shaul HaMelech said, I'm killing myself. He put a sword down and he jumped on the sword and he killed himself. And he told the servant boy to make sure that he kills himself. So they bring a proof from Shaul HaMelech. And a book. Shaul.
You went to Shammai? Or Gan Gehenom?
No, it's good.
He's good? He killed himself, but okay.
Yeah. So they say that if a person is under those circumstances, that if he's going to be tortured to death, lo aleinu, and he knows he's not going to be able to withstand it, and then they're going to kill him, or they're going to force him into some sort of a conversion, and they're going to torture him, and he won't be able to withstand it,
It's better.
he's allowed to kill
He
himself.
knows either way they're gonna kill him. And with torture.
But how would you know?
Maybe they're not torture him, not kill him, but they're going to either
Where's the Emunah?
tell
Last
him to convert,
last
or they're
second.
going to torture him like non-stop, and he knows he won't be able to handle it, and
but-
eventually he might give in.
Hashem knows the future, and
So then
last
he could take his life before.
last second could change.
A pilot in the Air Force,
Okay.
right? He's about to go.
Down.
He's about to go down. He's about to go down, and he
Okay.
knows that if he's going to pull his little thing and he's going to fly out, he's going to end up somewhere where he doesn't want to end up, and they're going to torture him and torment him his whole entire life. Can he take his airplane and crash it and kill himself or not?
But there's chances over there, 50-50. Over here is like 100% guarantee.
Almost no chance.
I don't know.
Rabbi, what if
They torment him and
I
torture
take my
him.
chance.
If a person knows,
Shalom.
if a person knows that he wouldn't be able to handle it,
Emunah.
there would be a time to say that he could do it. There would be room to believe it. Yeah.
3 cardinal averot, right? If somebody doesn't have the courage to give up his life,
Yeah.
he's gonna go and rub the belly of the Buddha or do the mamash the Avodah Zarah. He doesn't have the courage to give up his life.
Yeah.
Not now, or not this. He can't do it.
Yeah.
What's his? He gets an avera that he will live and do mitzvot.
It's a chilul Hashem, he gets in the era, but he's an honest, yes.
If he gives up his life, it's kiddush Hashem.
Well, yeah, he was forfeited that means of Kiddush Hashem. And he did a chilul Hashem
Under honest.
under honest, yeah. But that's only if he can't run away. If he could run away, and he chooses to stay and convert, do Avodah Zarah is a Right?
Okay.
Now, next part, the Rama writes, what about if a person can save himself? Say they tell him, listen, you eat, I have Say if they tell him, it's either eat this piece of pork, I'll give you a better example. Right? Say they tell him, we want you to tell us exactly what this person did. Say you're at work, and your boss or something, whoever has a boss, right? He tells him, come and tell me about the specific individual, Hoshana Raba.
Stinker,
Right? And now he's putting you in a situation where you don't want to speak Hoshana Raba about this person. Right?
Snitch.
The guy is paying you $500,000 a year salary. Right now he tells you, if you're not going to tell me exactly what this person did or exactly what this person said, and it's mamash clear Hoshana Raba, I'm going to fire you. The Rama says you have to give up everything you have not to do an avirah. That means that if a goy would come to you and tell you, it's either you eat this pig, or it's either you give me everything that you have, all your assets.
Give it.
You have to give up everything you have, api halacha, but not to do the avirah.
No, life,
Everything,
life is easier than mine.
right? Mamash everything. To such an extent, the chiyuv after you put Hashem in avirah, right? Contaminates and destroys the person's whole soul. When a person does sins, it really contaminates the person's soul. Tremendously. So it says over here, what about a mitzvot aseh? Right? If they tell you, do a mitzvah, right? Tell them, don't do this mitzvah. Or, you give us all your money. Or you have an opportunity not to do a mitzvah. How much do you have to spend to do this mitzvah? It says not more than 1/5 of your assets. That means that if you have, let's say $2,000, right, and you need to fulfill a mitzvah, but this mitzvah costs you more than 1/5 of what you have, you're not obligated to fulfill this mitzvah.
More than $250.
Right. You might be obligated to borrow it if you can, but you're not obligated to spend money on this mitzvah. Or if they tell you, listen, right, your boss tells you, I don't allow you to shake your lulav and esrog. Now you want to pay him off, right? You want to pay him to let you do it. How much do you have to pay for him to let you do it? Not more than 1/5 of your assets. But if you have $100,000 and you can pay him $20,000 for him to let you fulfill the mitzvah, you're obligated to pay up to $20,000 to fulfill that mitzvah. 1/5 of your assets, right? The Shach,
So 20%.
the Shach says, what about if they tell somebody, you do the avirah, or you do the avirah, if you don't do it, we cut off your hand. Do the avirah, or they cut off his hand.
Depends what other, it doesn't matter any other.
Lo ta'aseh. Eat the pig,
Or
or even the Rabbanan. I tell you, even the Rabbanan, drink wine. I give you non-kosher wine, or I give you cognac. What is that cognac? What is that non-kosher cognac? Huh? The famous one.
Carvase.
Yeah, that one. I remember I saw it at somebody's house one time.
Hennessy.
Hennessy. They come and tell you, listen, drink the Hennessy, we'll cut off your legs. Like, what do you do?
Which Hennessy?
Drink it.
Or the Hennessy on the wound.
Drink it and ask for more.
So, cutting off legs
Of course.
is dangerous. So the Shach says losing an organ, there you could do the Avirah. Losing an organ is equivalent to losing your life.
Organ or limb.
Or organ, limb, something that's dangerous. Right? Do they tell him we're going to cut off one of your fingers if you don't drink the Hennessy? You can't have the Hennessy. Right? It's to drink the Hennessy. Why? Because the Maaseh, it's Tam Yenam. It's made out of non-kosher wine. The Zohar says, one of the Zohar, right?
Yes.
Right? The Zohar says, a person that drinks non-kosher wine, he loses his chilik in Olam Haba.
Wow.
What is it? You lose it?
The Zohar says he loses his chilik in Olam Haba. Why? The non-kosher wine enters his body, takes his soul, uproots his soul from its source, and brings it into the tumah.
Question: does the wine that, let's say, you drink not mevushal wine, and let's say the goya touches it?
That's
It's
considered as
Yar
not kosher?
Nesach, that's it.
What does she touch? The bottle?
The
No.
bottle itself, it's open bottle.
She didn't touch the bar, but she was there, thanks to it.
Don't know, probably вообще ничего, I'm not talking, I'm thinking myself.
How did you touch it? Just touch it like this?
Huh?
Just like this? You
Touch the wine, that's it, it's garbage.
Touching is not a problem.
So what's the problem?
Not a
What's the problem?
Shaking or pouring is a problem.
Прошел ты.
So hold on, подожди. The bottle is open already. No
Talking
problem?
about open, yeah. If she just touches it, it's not a problem.
No problem?
Sure.
What-
Moves it,
so
becomes,
So if she moves it lightly,
То
so
май,
А это уже на
двигатель как шейки получается.
But Western restaurants doesn't allow to
Не,
drink
нет.
at all.
what?
Some restaurants they don't allow to
Yeah,
drink
because
at
the
all.
waiter pours it.
No, not even. I heard that if
Jewish
it's
people,
not
not
Jewish
religious.
person can't even see.
Yes, exactly what I heard. Yes.
There is a
See.
shla and there's
Oh.
a midrash talpiot that say that wine that's not mubushal, the goy shouldn't see it. But let me
Yes.
tell you something. You know how many goyim work in these wine factories? You know how many goyim sold this wine already? You're wasting your time.
Maybe
They have big vats. The Jew goes on top. He wants to try it, right? As soon as he puts in a cup to try it, at that moment that becomes into yayin. At that moment, there's goyish workers. Nobody's looking at it. They're looking at it, right?
I also heard that non-Jewish wine you cannot even open with a person, even Jewish. He doesn't keep Shabbat either.
So that's true.
חלקת גוי, לא?
Huh?
חזקת גוי.
Now, if a person is mechalel Shabbat b'fresia, he's not allowed to pour your wine, right? Let me explain to you. Shaking the wine is asr. Pouring the wine is asr. Touching the wine directly is asr. If I'm holding the bottle, I'm holding the bottle, and the guy opens it, and I'm holding the bottle, and he never touched the wine, it doesn't answer the wine, right? Or if you have a cleaning lady, and you have an open bottle of wine, you were there. She just picked it up like this, and she moved it lightly over here, and she wiped the table.
It's a problem.
It's not a problem.
А если она убирает, бутылка занимается.
Rabbi, in restaurant,
But if she went like this, she shook it, she shaked it, her koach went into it, then you have a problem.
Rabbi,
Or she poured it, then you have a problem.
kosher restaurant, the guy opens the waitress. They open the wine for you, they pour it for you. That's a problem?
Yes, also for you to drink.
You see?
A woman can pour you wine in the first place.
Wow.
No, nothing to do with women. I'm not joking.
Если это не мевушал. А если
No,
мевушал нормально.
that's like more
Мевушал
like
нормально,
a
спросите.
Mevusha.
Мевушал.
Rabbi, what if it's megusha and the guy opens and pour it for you? Is that okay? The waitress.
If it's
I'm going
мевушал.
to answer that question in a moment. But in regards to what we said earlier, in regards to the wine and the not, the person that's Mechalel Shabbat,
Natan, of your question.
you're right, he's not allowed to touch your wine, right? But it really depends. If it's Mechalel Shabbat b'Fresia, which means that if you would have a big rabbi, right? Say you take the chief rabbi, and he's looking at it. They take two chief rabbis, right? And he's looking at him, right? And he's looking at him, and he would be embarrassed to get into the car, even though he would drive in front of other people. He's not considered Mechalel Shabbat b'Fresia. Mechalel Shabbat b'Fresia means that he's not embarrassed even in front of big rabbis to break Shabbat. Like, such a person, lechatchila, he's not allowed to pour your wine. If you poured your wine, you shouldn't drink it b'diavad or matir.
So you can even bless it also.
B'diavad. If you have nothing else, lechatchila, don't drink it.
Even if it's megusha.
No, not Mevushal. Not Mevushal, I'll get to Mevushal in a moment. I remember one time I was in Flatbush. Somebody comes up to me and says, Rabbi, I go into my car on Shabbat. He tells me, I'm not scared of anybody, only Hashem. I go into the car in front of everybody on Shabbat, he tells me.
On Shabbat.
You understand his logic? I go into the car on Shabbat, I'm not scared of anybody except Hashem.
So this is exactly.
He's patur from this sort also. Right? Now, you have wine that's mevushal. Now, what's mevushal? There are poskim, there's a big machloket about mevushal. The Ben Ish Chai and the Erech HaShulchan and the understanding of the Rambam hold that mevushal means that you cook it to the point that it turns into honey. It becomes thick. Right? That's mevushal. If it's before that point, it's not mevushal. It's not mevushal. So this halakha you can use the chumrah and the kula. We'll explain how. Now the next shita is that I have to cook it, and it boils, and by boiling it diminishes from it's an ounce. It means you put 10 ounces, it's 9.67. Right? It diminishes from the boiling, it evaporates. Right? That's the second shita. Some that hold, no. Just cook it. Once it cooks, it's ready, considered muvashal. And that's the way the minhag is. There are Mordechai Eliyahu held like that. Mordechai Rava held like that. Moshe Feinstein held like that. Therefore, the pasteurization, it goes through a quick cooking, like 30-40 seconds. It goes through a pipe at about 180 degrees for a few seconds, maybe 30-40 seconds, and that's it. On the other hand, Rav Ben Zion Abashul, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Rav Eliashib, and others in the Elder Development of Eretz Yisrael hold that the way the wine today is Mevushal is not considered Mevushal, and therefore you should be machmir not to let a guy touch it. So if you want to be machmir that even today's wine is Mevushal, be machmir, you could, but it's a chumrah. Not Mikra Adin. But wine that's not Mevushal, for sure you have to be careful. People that have cleaning ladies at home, and they're not home, they go to work, they have a lot of issues with that, right? It's
Just buy Mavasha.
besides the wine, the kalim, the cooking, that house is very easy to become trade. No, nobody's home all day. You look at your cameras all day to see what you do. Cameras don't always work. The best way to do such thing is to make sure that you give her a separate fridge, separate kalim, separate pots, separate dishes, separate everything. She has her own reality. Then you can rely on cameras. She knows she only touches her own stuff, and wherever you have your wine, whenever's open, you have to lock. Right? But if you just leave her in an open house and she knows you're gone every day from 8 to 6 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, bad situation. The halacha says, when Moshe Feinstein says that the Eved won't get the house straight, when nobody's home and the house is free to her, we assume that she did whatever she wanted. She'll take out a steak, we assume that things that are open should be replaced. She'll open up your freezer, she'll say, wow, it's a nice ribeye steak. She'll take it, she'll put it on your pot, she'll put a little butter on it, and she'll go and like the steaks with butter. Like goes to the restaurant in Manhattan, a kosher restaurant in Manhattan. For 6 months, the chef was putting butter in his pocket, cooking steaks with butter, and nobody knew. 6 months, kosher restaurant, until they caught it. 6 months. Why? Going, they like butter on their steaks. It's good. You leave your home attendant home or your lady home all day, right? You think she's not interested in maybe trying a little wine? She never took out a steak from the freezer, maybe defrosted it, and made herself a nice steak with butter, and then said, you know what, I'm going to take a walk later on to Kifur, I'll buy another steak, I'll put it back, you'll never even realize I took it. You don't know what they're doing in your house. You don't think they made your pot straight. The fact that you cooked on your pot, even something kosher, with her turning on the fire and cooking, automatically your pot will taste, because the dish will akko. You leave a goy at home all day, you really think she's going to be makud not to make your pot straight? I can guarantee you, she would only know, if you would only know what she did throughout the whole entire day in that house, I mean, say we're choshesh. Right? You left wine open on the table, she was there the whole entire day. You never know. She could have took 2-3 ounces, put it in a cup, drank a little bit, throw it out. You'll never know. She put a little water just to make it look like nothing ever happened. You have an issue. You're not allowed to do that. If you have a guy living in your house, you must have a rabbi that will go through step by step how you can make it that the house won't become treif. Because the house will become treif. It will become treif. A goya or a boy will do whatever they want in that house all day. They do not care about your halacha. They don't care about anything you hold in or
Even
believe
the
in.
dishes, the mixed
They will
dishes.
mix everything if you're not home. If they know nobody's home from a set time to a set time, they will mix everything. Right? I know somebody that was telling me that in a restaurant, he used to be said in a restaurant, he saw goyim used to bring their own food in a kosher restaurant and cook with their pots and pans. They would bring cheese in their pocket, they would take a little piece of meat, put it on, put the cheese on, make themselves a nice cheeseburger. They'll bring food from their houses, warm it up in the oven. See if they work in a pizza store, they warm it up in the oven when the store is quiet. You know what they're doing. If you're not watching over going, you think they care what they do. They don't care what they do. They do whatever they want, right? Abelski said one time he went to a bakery and he said it was late at night and he wanted to see what they were doing. I think it was like at 12 o'clock at night or something like that. He said he opened up the ovens in the bakery and he looked on the sides where the flames are, He said you saw going, we're putting their food there to warm up, all their trade food there to warm up. A goy is a goy. Doesn't understand all the things you understand and you're careful with. Therefore, you're not allowed to leave a goy out.
Rabbeinu, how do you feel like sometimes you go to the butcher, kosher butcher here in Queens, and you see the cutting the meat, while it's open, hopefully milk next to it.
It's not, halachically you can't ask to do it. It might not be the proper thing to do. You can't ask to do it.
Right, but you see the cutting the meat and the coffee with milk right here.
Say if I take the coffee and I spill it all over the meat. Now what?
Wash.
You rinse it.
You can rinse it.
It's cold water and that's it.
Hoshana Raba.
But still, you're not allowed to have like a coffee dairy stuff next to the meat stuff.
It's not hot, so we didn't observe. That's what it is, no?
You shouldn't do it. But it's not going to ask you even if it's spilled. It's not after halachically. You can't have meat and dairy that's cooked on the table like a long time because you're concerned you're going to eat it together. But if you're drinking coffee and you have raw meat in front of you, it's not us to do that.
Is that okay?
It's not us to do it. Maybe out of precaution you shouldn't do it because it might spill over, but it's not us. Because even if it spills over, you could just rinse it with cold water, not unless the
But
coffee is
like
boiling
I've
hot.
seen it, but people didn't see it. And like how I would know, like for example, he spilled it and somebody just took it and doesn't know that.
Let me ask you, if he would spill coffee on the meat, you think he would leave it like that? He would rinse it. He would rinse it. And not only that, people rinse their meat at home anyways. All raw meat is generally rinsed at home anyways. So it's not a problem. It would almost never turn into a problem.
Rabbi, I have a 2 dishwasher. One dairy, one meat. And my boy, cleaning lady, she mixed it, the dishes. Do we have to do mikvah or no? Or we already did mikvah. What do we do in this case? She mixed it.
Diavad, it's okay, don't do it again.
Can you
Diavad,
repeat
it's
this?
okay,
What you
don't do
said?
it again.
So
It
you
says that you have a dishwasher, one is meat, one is dairy.
and the goy.
You have meat dishes and you have dairy dishes. The boy took everything, mixed it into this one, mixed it into that one, and took it.
What do you do with dishes?
So,
How you feel?
so Rav Ovadia says by dishwashers, he says that with the avad, you can even use one dishwasher for meat and milk.
Mm.
Now we don't rely on it. A lot of poskim might disagree with him. We don't rely on it because Rav Ovadia explained how dishwashers work. And I spoke to people that research dishwashers. They don't all work like that. They don't all work like that.
Steam.
So that means that if you have a dishwasher that would fill up with hot water first, before it lets out all the soap, you would have a serious problem. And some do that. Right? And therefore, chatchila, don't do it. With the avad, if it happens, it's okay. With the avad, it's okay. But you have to be careful, like you said, you have to be careful with goyot in your house. Be very careful. Right? Campers won't work. Right? The only thing that'll work is, like you said, you have everything separate for them, where they have no interest at all in using anything that you have. And if you're at work all day, and everything in your house is open, and she wants to make herself a steak sandwich in the middle of the day, what's stopping her?
Nothing.
You think she's starving all day? You think when she takes that plate of meat, she says, oh, I have to be careful, I can't eat the meat, I can't eat the milk. There's nobody there. She can do whatever she wants. You really think she's going to think, oh, he's going to look at the camera to look at it for 8 hours to see if I cooked a piece of cheese on my meat? Nobody's going to do that. If you know one person who ever did that, what do you think, they're stupid? They know, they're not going to do it. They know they're not going to do it. So not the shame, we have to be careful. So we'll just end off like this. We have to be very careful. Kiddush Hashem, very careful with Hillel Hashem. And I really wanted to get to a little bit more.
We have
But
time if you
I
want.
said the one thing that we can end up with is you have to give up everything you have not to do Avodah. You have to give up everything you have not to do Avodah. Even the more so to go willingly to spend money on that. Not to do it. Yeah?
Hazak Baruch Hu.
Hazak